I thought he was going to kill himself.
Okay. So you find out the gun's missing, so you do think he's got the gun, but is going to turn it on himself.
Right.
Okay. So where did you, at that point you went to the substation? I think we saw the video.
Yeah, my husband had called me when I got close to the house, and he said the substation just called and they want us to come down there. They have my son. And so I picked him up on the way and we drove to the substation together.
When you say picked him up, picked who up?
My son was in custody, basically. The substation.
Right, so who did you pick up?
I picked up my husband, sorry.
Okay, you picked up James. Okay, what was going through your mind at this point, going from picking James up to the substation?
I don't know. I asked my husband, I was like, is he alive? And he said, oh no, we're going down there. I didn't really know what to think. I was kind of it was kind of hazy. It was kind of, everything was a little surreal. I still didn't believe that he actually shot anybody or was in the school. I just knew that there was gunfire. I didn't know the extent of it at all.
So when you're at the substation, did you asked them about fatalities? We saw it on there.
That wasn't at the subs. Oh yeah, I did.
Okay, but you didn't get an answer, right?
No.
At that point, were you thinking that anyone was injured or that anyone was hurt?
He did say there was injuries, and at that point, my mind went to, we can handle injuries. We can handle injuries. I went into kind of like go mode, like what do we have to do? My son's arrested. I did not think there would be any fatalities.
You didn't think there would be any injuries?
No, I didn't think there would be injuries. I didn't think there'd be anything, but I just went into that mode. Like we can handle injuries, and we can figure this out and go from there.
Okay. We saw the interview at the substation. Yes. I'm not going to go through all that with you, okay? After that, you go to your house. Is that correct?
Correct.
And the next thing, police are at your door.
We were at the house for a minute, and we were putting some hot water on the oven, on the stove. My husband walked out back to the side of the house. I saw him walk towards the end of the driveway through my kitchen window. I was sitting in my kitchen on my phone talking to my dad, and I realized my husband was gone for a little bit longer. I didn't see him walk back, so I walked out the front door of my house.
And what'd you see?
There was a bunch of officers with guns drawn on me.
Have you ever been in that position before?
No, I have not.
What did you think when that happened?
I don't know. I remember just dropping my phone and putting my hands up and then being handcuffed. It all happened so fast. It was shocking.
Okay, we saw you sit in the car with James with the handcuffs, right?
Correct.
So we don't need to go through all that.
No.
After that, we saw a video where you're sitting in the car and you talk to police for a long time. There's a lot of long pauses in it, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm not going to go through that whole video right now, okay? But if there's something you need, you can let me know. During the substation meeting, while you're with Joe Bryan,
Judge, this is direct examination.
I'm asking a question. I'm just putting us in a space. I'm going to ask a non-leading question. Okay. So we all can see that you are using your phone while you are speaking to law enforcement. I want to know what you're doing on your phone. It's not leading.
What were you
And
doing?
the whole jury can hear you constantly saying object.
What were you doing on your phone? First I was looking for the paper to show the officer that was sitting next to me. The first one I pulled up, I couldn't get to zoom in, so I had to search through my emails for the other one to get that pulled up. Once I got my phone back, I'm pretty sure I was going through the mass amount of text messages and Facebook messages I was receiving from family and friends asking me if my son was okay, because at this point in time, nobody knew anything. I was also messaging with my boss, who happens to be an attorney, trying to get his advice on what to do. I was on my phone, I'm not going to deny it. I was probably looking at text messages and Facebook messages and just trying to get updates on anything.
Is that the same or different when you're in the back of the patrol car?
What do you mean?
There's a point where you're in the patrol car by yourself.
Right.
Okay, you've got your phone. Tell us what you're doing on your phone at that point.
I know I was messaging with my dad a lot because I had dropped the phone when I was talking to him and I got arrested, so I was filling him in what was going on. I was also messaging immediate family members and close friends that my son was okay, but he was the shooter. So that's mainly what I was doing.
What was your state of mind like at that time?
I don't know. It was pretty numb. I didn't really believe. I had a hard time. I don't know. I was numb. I didn't really believe like everything was happening the way it was. It was surreal. My mind was in all different places.
Okay. So when did you find out there were fatalities?
In the back of the car when I was by myself, and I asked the officer, and he told me there was 4 fatalities.
That's on the video?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you questions about that, okay? All I can hear is object, and it's very distracting. I would ask them to write notes or something because it's very distracting.
Okay, I can hear them, but just try and keep your voices down, please.
I didn't say the word object.
Okay.
Okay.
We're not saying object.
Okay, well, she can hear you saying something apparently, so.
Okay. So this is the time where you find out there's fatalities. I'm going to move on to a different topic. On your cell phone, do you have a habit of deleting messages?
Usually it's threads.
Okay, explain to the jury what you do, because go ahead and explain.
Well, on Facebook, I do a lot of Facebook Marketplace, so I get a lot of messages.
What's Facebook Marketplace?
Where you buy and sell things. So the first main screen of my phone will get clogged up with Marketplace messages, so I'll just delete threads to my main people come up that I talk to on a regular basis. If that starts getting full, I delete those threads too. Same thing with text messages. I delete threads until the main people I talk to are up on the main screen, so I don't have to scroll down to find them.
Okay, so is that a habit that you started that day, that month? When did you start doing this deleting text thing?
Pretty much when I got a cell phone. I've always done that.
Okay. Did you go out of your way, in this case, to delete like certain messages?
Not intentionally, no.
And so when there's a message they say you deleted that indicates the gun was locked, do you recall deleting that message?
No, I completely forgot I sent that message.
Or unsending it, I'm sorry.
No, I don't remember.
Okay, there's another message that is unsent talking about we did everything right, that kind of thing. Do you recall unsending that message?
No.
Okay. So when law enforcement got found that there was a lot of deleted content, does that surprise you in any way?
No.
And you don't dispute, you've seen a lot of text message threads that have been admitted. You agree those were a lot of the messages going on, is that right?
Right.
And a lot of those are what were deleted.
Correct.
Okay. So after you're interviewed, there was a point where the police tell you and James you guys need to leave the house, is that right?
Yes.
Where did you guys go?
We went up to the first time we ended up going to the Holiday Inn Express and sitting in the parking lot trying to figure out what was going on, waiting for them to call us.
Was there a point you had to go back to the house?
Yes, they called us to come back to the house.
Did you know why you're going back?
They told us that the search was over and they just wanted us to come back to the house.
Okay, so when you got back to the house, what happened?
We went into the house and then the detective asked for our cell phones.
And were you reluctant about giving over your cell phone?
Yes, I was.
Okay, why is that?
sounds bad, but my life is in my cell phone, my contacts are in my cell phone, everything I need is in my cell phone. I don't memorize phone numbers, I have an emergency going on, and they're taking my only means of contact away from me.
Okay. There was a suggestion to go get burner phones or track phones, prepaid phones.
Correct.
Did you do that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so there was evidence, you went to Walmart in Lapeer, does that sound right?
Yep.
And we saw the receipts. There's been a lot of text messages about threats. Tell the jury about what you were receiving.
We were receiving so many threats on let me back up. On our new track phones, in my Facebook Messenger, there was a ton of threats. I wasn't getting text threats on my new track phone because I had my number, but my Facebook Messenger was blowing up with threats. Once I got into my email account, that was blowing up with threats. People found my realtor.com profile that I hadn't had for years and were sending me messages through that. I had people sending me screenshots of text threats they found that I didn't know about.
How were you feeling at this point?
I was feeling pretty scared.
Okay, scared of what?
Well, scared that somebody might hurt us.
Okay. At that point, did you ever go back home?
This is the first time, right?
I'm talking after you bought the track.
Oh, no, we went to the hotel in Lapeer.
Okay. So you go to the hotel in Lapeer, and then how long did you stay there?
Just one night.
Okay, so that was the night of
the 30th.
The 30th. Okay. What did you do on the 1st?
We woke up. I knew I had to make arrangements. I had a senior dog and 2 cats still at the house. I didn't know what to do with. My neighbor was sending me updates, letting me know that there was still media around my house, that my house had multiple random pizza deliveries that people were calling in. So I had to get dog food for our dog, and I met her at the actually in the church parking lot behind Red Naps that afternoon to give her the food.
Okay, and I believe that we've heard about that and saw the GPS stuff. Did you go to any banks?
Not on that day.
Okay, did you go any time that week?
Yes.
All right, why were you going to banks?
When all this unfolded and we found out that it was my son that was a shooter, I get a lot of advice from my dad. My dad's been involved in some civil suits before. He told me that there's probably going to be a lot of lawsuits, and they're going to try to take your assets. And I didn't really have any assets. The bank owned my house, the bank owned my cars, and all I had was the cash in my bank. And he said they could freeze your account. So I went and withdrew money from my account. My dad also deposited extra money in my account during that time to give to us, help us retain a lawyer, which I withdrew as well.
Okay, so you withdrew that money. Did you withdraw anything from an account that had Ethan's name on it?
We transferred money from that savings account to our account.
Okay, explain that account. I know it says Ethan's name on it. Is anyone else listed on the account?
No, it's a Simply Kids savings account through Flagstar Bank. So he opened it with $200. I don't think he really had any more than $100 left after things he wanted to buy, but I transfer money from my check into that account, so we kind of use it as a savings account too.
Okay, so did you leave any money in that account?
If we did, it was very little.
Okay. So on December 1st, we heard testimony already that your son was charged, you watched online. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Okay. We heard on the 1st, did you guys stay at the hotel in Lapeer, or did you go somewhere else?
No, we went to the extended stay in Auburn Hills.
Okay, why is that?
Probably for the cheapest rates, and it was a decent hotel. Not any other reason why.
Okay, so how long did you end up staying at the extended stay in Auburn Hills?
We ended up staying there for 2 days.
Okay, and then we've heard testimony that charges were going to be announced at some